My spirit sang all day, oh my joy, nothing my tongue could say, only my joy.
My heart an echo caught,
oh my joy, and spake, tell me thy thought, hide not thy joy. My eyes can peer around, oh my joy, what beauty hast thou found? Show us thy joy. My jealous ears grew whist, oh my joy, music from heaven is sent for our joy. She also came and heard, oh my joy, what, said she, is this word? What is thy joy? And I replied, oh see, oh my joy, 'tis thee, I cried, 'tis thee, thou art my joy.
Thank you to the Ruth Asawa School of the Arts Vocal Music Department for calling us together this morning. Okay, you're one of the first to see it, the Presidio Tunnel Tops. What do you think so far? What do you think? You're just seeing a few acres from here. There's a lot more below, and we are surrounded by such beauty. One of the most beautiful views. We can see the Golden Gate Bridge right there. Welcome, everyone. I'm Chanel Wang from NBC Bay Area. We just heard from Ruth Asawa School of the Arts, part of the San Francisco Unified School District, and it's a dynamic, if you haven't heard of it, a dynamic arts program that reflects our city's cultural diversity, and it's so wonderful to have them and all of you this morning for this wonderful grand opening. We will be doing a ribbon cutting later, and you will all be involved, so it's quite exciting. We have been a proud supporter of the Tunnel Tops opening campaign. We've done stories, and it's just such a magical place. I saw it for the first time. I got a tour yesterday, and it just exceeded everything I saw on the news. It's just so beautiful to be here in person. And we've been reporting about it for years. I mean, this has been a years-long process, and today marks the culminating moment in the Presidio's 20-year reinvention as a national park site. Right here in San Francisco. It's amazing. And with the opening of Presidio Tunnel Tops, the Presidio is now truly a park for everyone. It's a gift to the city, and of course all our visitors to San Francisco will love it here. Above all, Presidio Tunnel Tops is a place made by the community for the community. So this morning, we're going to recall how it came to be and thank everyone who made it possible and reflect on what it will mean for our city and the nation. So I want to recognize some distinguished speakers. Sitting behind me, too, are Shannon Estenos from the U.S. Department of the Interior. Yes. San Francisco Mayor London Breed. Sitting right next to her is the new San Francisco District Attorney, Brooke Jenkins. And we have Speaker of the House, Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi, here today with us. From the Presidio Trust, CEO Gene Frazier. Chief Park Officer Michael Boland. Board members Lynn Benioff, Mark Buell, and Carol McNeil. From the Parks Conservancy, CEO Emeritus Greg Moore, and Board Chair Stacy Slaughter. And with the Tops Presidio Tunnel Tops campaign, co-chairs Mark Buell and Randy Fisher. Jonathan Cordero from the Tribal Chair of the Ramaytush Ohlone. And Carrie, Fire Robin, and Laura Joss of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. Also here with us that we would like to acknowledge our project designers, James Corner and Richard Kennedy from James Corner Field Operations. And Eric Foster, Laura Dunn, Guyon from Swinnerton Builders. We're so grateful for all of you for helping to execute this vision. We have city officials here as well. State Assemblyman Phil Ting. Myrna Melgar from SF District 7 Supervisor. Raphael Mandelman, SF District 8 Supervisor. Shaman Walton, District 10 Supervisor. San Francisco Police Chief Bill Scott. Gwyneth Borden, Chair of San Francisco MTA. Phil Ginsberg, GM, SF Recreation and Park. And Dr. Grant Colfax, Director of the Health for the City and County of San Francisco. Nice to see you in person. We interview you lots. It's so nice to see these people in person. We've been doing it on Zoom for like 2.5 years now, so it's nice to be here, gathered outside. It's just so wonderful, and what a great backdrop. And of course, Amy Meyer, longtime champion of the parks in many roles, and of course, our generous donors for making this all possible. So we want to begin our program by acknowledging the first stewards of this land. And to do that, I'm delighted to introduce Greg Castro, Culture Director of the Association of Ramaytush Ohlone.
Hushatuhi. Greetings to you, my relatives and friends. Thank you for coming here today and gracing us with your presence and your spirit. This is the essence of what our ancestors have taught us, is to come together to be together in a good way. My name is Greg Castro. I'm Totralslinen, Rumsen and Ramaytush Ohlone, and I'm deeply humbled and honored to be here today to represent we, not me, but we. And that we not only encompasses those few descendants of our Ramaytush ancestors from this area, but it also represents our ancestors before us and our descendants that come after us. And when we work, when we plan, when we pray, we think of those as well, those who came before us, those who came after us, as well as those who are with us. From the few that have survived the last 250 years of the history of this area, we have come together finally and come back and been welcomed by the National Park Service, the Presidio Trust, the Park Conservancy, and all the other people, the wonderful people that have welcomed us and have listened to us patiently and respectfully, and we really appreciate that. Our ancestors teach us is that we are all human beings, and we all deserve to be treated with dignity and respect in equal measure. But that also goes for other things too. We truly believe that the land itself is a relative. It's an elder. And all the creatures on it are our relatives and deserve equal respect. And it is deeply, deeply moving that in this plan that as it develops and continues to grow for this area, that is acknowledged and agreed to and planned for, that the land itself and all the creatures on it, whether two-legged or four-legged, are part of that dignity and plan. I would like to start off this ceremony today in a good way, as my ancestors and my elders and mentors taught me, with a quick song. I usually sing the fog song, but it didn't look like it needed it. Maybe it heard I was coming and decided to leave. It's sort of teasing us out there to my right a little bit. I'd like to start out with a good look song. This is a Rumsen Ohlone song, and the reason it's a Rumsen song is because the tragic history of our people is that so little of our culture remains. Just a few words, no songs, no ceremonies, no prayers. But for my Rumsen heritage and relatives, they've allowed me to bring these songs here so that we can still sing from the heart and from the spirit to Creator and to all of creation, to bind us together. Juan, Wasia Hiem. Toa toa hie, heyeli ama, 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 toa. Toa toa hie, heyeli ama, 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 toa. Yahap. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Castro, for bringing us together. Our next speaker is someone who has experienced and championed the Presidio in many roles: parent, visitor, neighbor, park leader, serving as the chair of the Presidio Trust Board of Directors, and most recently she has been a catalyst helping to marshal the resources to create this very special place. Along with co-chairs Mark Buell and Randy Fisher, she led the Golden Gate National Parks Conservancy's Presidio Tunnel Tops campaign, one of the largest fundraising efforts to benefit the national parks. I'm delighted to introduce Lynn Benioff.
Thank you, Janelle. Good morning. Is everyone excited? 5 years ago, I joined some of you right here to help kick off this amazing project. And what did it look like back then? Dirt. Lots of dirt spread over the highway. An old army building that had seen better days, the remnants of a fast food joint, a former Burger King, an empty wasteland dividing our communities, fences keeping people out. Today, just look at the incredible space we've built. And tomorrow, after decades of planning and years of work, the Presidio Tunnel Tops goes from wasteland to parkland, a place that brings our communities together, a park that welcomes everyone in. Just as important as what we've done is how we've done it. We reached out and listened to our communities with input and ideas from more than 10,000 people. We empowered our communities, helping us select the design team and plans. We were guided by our communities, including kids who recently tested it out and made it better. And we're partnering with organizations and schools across our communities so that every family and every child in every corner of our city can come here and enjoy your park. Over the past 2 years during COVID, we've learned again how important our parks really are, physically, mentally, spiritually, how we need to get outside, to breathe the fresh air, to feel the grass between our toes, to appreciate our connection to nature. Parks like this refresh, renew, and restore our souls. And here's the best news of all. At a time when the cost of everything is going up, the Presidio Tunnel Tops will be free. People will relax with a stroll on the trails or a walk through the meadow, looking out at one of the best views in the world for free. Families will reconnect with a picnic on the lawn or sitting around the campfire for free. Children will put down their devices, the dream of every parent, and run to the playground and climb and explore and learn for free. So this is a gift for the generations, from our community to our community. And today I want to give a special shout out to some of those who made it possible. Champions in creating the Golden Gate National Recreation Area in the first place, Amy Meyer, who is here with us today. The late Dr. Edgar Wayburn, and many others who championed the cause of preserving open space and historic places in the Bay Area. The leader who led the charge to save the Presidio with a new kind of partnership that will keep this a park forever, Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Thank you. Our incredible and tireless partners in this journey, the National Park Service and the Parks Conservancy. My fellow co-chairs of the Presidio Tunnel Tops fundraising campaign, Mark Buell and Randy Fisher, everyone on the campaign committee, and all the generous donors. We met our goal of raising $98 million. And to everyone who will help bring people all across our city and visitors from around the world to this major new attraction in San Francisco, thank you, Mayor Breed, and all our community partners. Finally, I just want to say that I'm not only here as a co-chair of the campaign and the chair of the Presidio Trust, I'm also here as a parent. My husband is a fourth-generation San Franciscan. Our children have grown up listening to their grandmother tell stories about her own childhood here in the city, including her memories of the amusement park, Playland at the beach, once down on Ocean Beach. It brought so much happiness and joy to generations of San Franciscans. Standing here, I believe that the Presidio Tunnel Tops will find its place in the heart of our city as well. That's my wish today, that we'll all bring our children here to this magical place to run and play and live and laugh and create their own memories, and that someday they'll bring their children here too. Thank you all for being part of this incredible gift. A gift will pass to generations to come. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce a great leader for our city. She was with us just a few weeks ago as we unveiled Battery Bluff at the tunnels down the street. We're thrilled to have her back in the park. Please welcome San Francisco Mayor London Breed.
Wow, what a day today. I am excited about what this park represents for our city, but I want to take us back a little bit because I think that there have been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into looking at the Presidio and looking at it and reimagining what it can be for our city and a destination for people all over the Bay Area. I was talking to the former director of Spur, Jim Chappell, and I said, this has been a long time coming, Jim. And he's like, 32 years. 32 years of San Franciscans and others coming together with the creativity that stems from all things San Francisco and looking at once this base was closed and having the incredible leadership of Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who fought for what the people of this city wanted to see this place become. No longer the freeway it once was, no longer the limited access Army base it used to be, but an open place for all to enjoy. And making that happen, I mean, some of you I'm sure have seen what this place used to look like. And to go from what it used to look like for the vision of what it is today and what it will do for future generations to come, it is absolutely extraordinary. And I want to thank especially Lynn Benioff and Mark Buell and Randy Fisher for just their leadership, because twisting the arms and getting folks to contribute to get to a point of $98 million of private funding to make this a gift to the people of San Francisco is really an extraordinary feat and just a testament to your wonderful legacy of what this is going to mean for generations of San Franciscans. To all of you who have contributed, thank you. And when I think about San Franciscans and I think about, what it means to be a person who grew up in San Francisco, I too think about my childhood of the parks, Margaret Hayward Playground, which in my neighborhood, that was our sanctuary, where we go, where we felt protected, where we felt we can enjoy ourselves and play and be at peace. And what this represents is really, again, a true testament to who we are as San Franciscans. Creative people, generous people, both with our resources and our time. Over 10,000 people who time and time again showed up to provide input on what this could be and created what I think is really a masterpiece, like the Mona Lisa or the Picasso or some other famous painting that you would see at a great museum. So I am just so happy and so grateful, and I want to just thank all of you for being here, because this is going to be a place, no matter what part of the city or the Bay Area you live in, no matter where you come from, no matter your situation, you can come here. You can go to the Battery Bluff. You can go to Francisco Park. All these new great open spaces which provide extraordinary views of why San Francisco truly is the most beautiful city in the world. Thank you all so much.
Chauffez-y fait, chauffez-y fait, chauffez-y fait. Oh, 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 oh. Nous proclamer l'espoir et nous chanter la paix. Pour l'imier la justice, la vie sur toute la terre. Nous proclamer l'espoir et nous chanter la paix. Pour l'imier la justice, la vie sur toute la terre. Nous proclamer l'espoir et nous chanter la paix. Pour l'imier la justice, la vie sur toute la terre. Nous continuons chanter. Yeah, 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 yeah. Chanter, 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 pour faire la vie plus belle. Oh, chanter, nous continuons chanter, nous continuons chanter, nous continuons chanter, pour faire la vie plus belle. Chanter, continuez chanter, pour faire la vie plus belle. La justice nous amène à nous manger, 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 à nous manger. La justice nous amène à nous manger, chaka, oh, oh, à nous manger, à nous manger, à nous manger, à nous manger, chaka, oh, 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 à nous manger, à nous manger, chaka, oh, 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 à nous manger, à nous manger, yo bon chaka, à nous manger, yo bon chaka, à nous manger, yo bon chaka. La justice not a man, la justice not a man, la justice not a man, la justice not a man. À nous manger, yo bon chaka, bo bo, à nous manger, yo bon chaka, bo bo, à manger, yo bon chaka.
Thank you again to the Ruth Asawa School. That is an excerpt from Shaka by Sidney Guillaume. He is actually a Haitian composer. It's a famous piece of his. It's a song that celebrates people, food, and community. And this is certainly a day to celebrate the Presidio Tunnel Tops. As Lynn mentioned, it's been a sad reality the past 2.5 years, being stuck indoors, getting my now 6-year-old off her iPad and out of the house, and the parks have been a beautiful place for us and for my sanity, actually, as well as hers. And this is going to be a beautiful place to take her. She will love it. Spend hours here. I went down and saw the park, and it's just all made of natural resources, recycled petrified wood. It's just so beautiful. And to help the kids learn about this place as well as grown-ups, we have created the Outpost, and it's to we've got feedback from educators, health experts, community leaders, and they created this outpost, this playground. It's 2 acres. Kids can run, crawl. There's just enormous tree structures where they can play on, and it's all made from nature. There's going to be guides down there, educating your kids, playing with your kids, and, I can just sit back and relax and enjoy the food trucks that are going to be here every single day. So, and it's right next door to the indoor field station down there. It's right below here. There's these beautiful steps that take you down to the outpost. And our next speaker is a youth adventure guide who's going to support our kids and parents in this journey of play and discovery. His name is Dylan Nepomuceno. And he's been deeply involved with the Chrissy Field Student Leadership Program, like the Urban Trailblazer Program. Former intern at Media Lab at Chrissy Field. He's now beginning this exciting next chapter as park leader and adventure guide. So he's going to tell us all about it. Please welcome Dylan.
Let me just pull my little script out. Good morning, everybody. Wow, this is honestly crazy. Last time I was on a microphone, it was actually 2019, and I was a speaker at our groundmaking event. And in fact, I'm looking around, I see a lot of you were there, actually. And at the time, I was 16 years old, and I had no idea what my future was going to look like. Honestly, never thought I would be back here. Today, I'm now part of the park staff, serving as an adventure guide right here on the Presidio Tunnel Tops. In the last few years, both the Presidio Tunnel Tops and I have come a long way. We both faced challenges, but we both had a community that helped us get here. My time here in this space and among the people of this space has shown me a true sense of belonging. Now, for most young people, including myself, it truly feels wholesome to be a part of something. Whether it's being one with nature, looking into a possible summer program, or even working as an intern in the park. This place was that place for me. And to that sense, it's that feeling of belonging. Right now, I am proud to be an adventure guide. These past couple months, I've been able to really feel that sense of curiosity, seeing how kids adapt to the new activities, and seeing how comfortable they grow in their new park. In the last month, we've had youth groups come and test out our play areas down by the field station. And in just a short visit here, I've seen kids' confidence grow. There were dreams of people coming together as a community. There were dreams of those who felt the need to connect back with nature and their roots. And right now we are standing on a dream that the Tunnel Tops would connect Chrissy Field and the Presidio. Tomorrow, I am excited to be a part of the official grand opening of the Tunnel Tops. Through internships and jobs here, I get a chance to take on that responsibility of being a role model to young people who visit this park and who are looking for a place to feel like they belong. I will help keep that dream. Working here, being up here right now is honestly a true blessing. I want to thank everyone who made this possible. Young people would not only belong here as participants, but as caretakers and leaders of the community and the park. This space will always hold opportunities. Opportunities to learn, to grow, to connect, to discover, to be kind and care for others, but also for setting goals for yourself and the world around you. Just imagine what dreams can be discovered here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dylan. Our families, our children are in very good hands. That was awesome. And yes, this is a dream come true for so many, a vision that's come true, and a dream come true for you, Dylan. So thank you so much. For nearly a decade, a group of community leaders has worked with park staff to build build a bridge from the Presidio to neighborhoods which had yet to experience the park. Perhaps transportation was a barrier, or even more fundamentally, neighbors just did not believe the Presidio was a place they would feel welcome. To turn the tide, an organization known as Be Magic, led by our next speaker, Lislyn Lacoste, was one of the first groups to pioneer the Presidio Community Shuttle Program back in 2013. Lislyn brought her community members to this park regularly for hikes and picnics. And when the Presidio Tunnel Tops Imagine phase began in 2014, she rallied her neighbors to share their ideas of what this place should become. And just recently, in the soft opening testing period in May, Magic, as it's now known, was the first community group to use Chrissy Field Center for a wellness retreat. And she's going to continue to be the linchpin connecting the park to her community. And to share her reflections, please welcome Lislyn Lacoste.
Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day, beautiful day. I am so honored to be here today with you all. Again, my name is Lislyn Lacoste. I currently run a program called Be Magic through the Office of the Public Defender. We are a community convener, connector, and resource for many of the youth and family serving organizations here in the Bayview, Hunters Point community, but also across the city through our sister program, Mo Magic, in the Western Addition. As Chanel mentioned, I've been a part of and working with the Presidio team and the Parks Conservancy team here since 2012. I want to give a special shout out to Amy Deck with the Presidio Trust and Jen Green with the Parks Conservancy. They have been our core team members here who have come into the communities and really connected us with this park and been along this journey with us throughout this last 10 plus years. And I really want to uplift them in the work they did. I want to speak today not just about how the community is going to utilize this park in the future, but also what it took to get here. There was a lot of community building that occurred and community trust that needed to happen over the years for the communities to feel safe and that they were welcomed here. And so it started in, there were 10 our convener meetings, which we host monthly. Amy and Jen would come in and have presentations. They really listened and sat with the community and was like, we want to see more underrepresented communities utilizing this park. How can we do so? And so, as Jenna mentioned, transportation was a barrier. So on October 5th of 2013, they launched the Presidio pilot shuttle program. And we brought groups such as the Bayview Y, such as Willie Mae's Boys and Girls Club, such as Alice Griffith's community, the housing community, out here to really utilize the space and recreate it for a space that belonged to other folks here that live in the city. Then we continue to add other organizations such as Edgewood, such as Rafiki, and they continue to utilize this space. And one thing that I've loved is that they've really been able to reimagine what this space looks like for other community groups. And they've allowed us to have the flexibility and really bring in the creativity. And that's represented in what this new Presidio Tunnel Tops looks like here, where organizations can come in and really make the space their own and work with the team here to make sure it's a meaningful experience for community members and the families that they're serving. Another thing that was really great that they did was, so before we started having the design talks in 2015, they came in and had preliminary talks with the community. They helped us redesign a trailhead out in Bayview Hunters Point that connected Bayview Y, Youngblood Coleman Park, India Basin, and some of our local parks, so we can have a greater picture of our park system here in San Francisco. There was also really intentional additional programming that went on to bring diversity of programming here to the park. Worked with a local author, Carmen Bogan, who wrote Where's Rodney, created a whole program around her book about a little young black boy who is having an outdoor adventure here at the park. And we created a whole program here for many months that community groups could connect to and really plug into what was happening here at the Presidio. So really appreciate those efforts. That's what it takes if you want to do real community building and really listen to and really work with your communities. It's that type of dedication, it's that type of commitment that was really meaningful. And now we have this really great, beautiful Presidio Tunnel Top parks that communities can continue to engage in. We will continue to use it for our self-care retreats that we've been hosting here at the park since 2017 on an annual basis. And, you know, we will continue to see young people come into the park from communities that usually are not represented at this park. And we're really super excited and grateful to be working with the team here at Chrissy Field Center and all the, now meeting Dylan, and all the other team of folks here who are going to make this, continue to make this a really great experience for all young people in the communities that we serve. So thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of this great effort.
Thank you, Lizlyn. Yeah, this park is amazing. It's very grand. It's almost overwhelming. There's so much to do here at this national park and at the Presidio. And you may have seen the work of our next speaker. It's right at the Presidio Visitor Center. So if you come here, you're like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? It's so big. Start at the Visitor Center. It's been remodeled. It is stunning. Please check it out on the way out. It's basically stop number one, and you can get a picture. There's a huge like 3D map, 2D map, and you can just figure out where you want to go, what you want to do, and enjoy this beautiful place. And you may have noticed the artwork. Our next speaker just designed that. It's also down at the Outpost. It's beautiful. Fabiana Rodriguez, she's an interdisciplinary artist, cultural strategist, and social activist, also founding member of the Presidio Activator Council. And the Activator Council, if you don't know, is made up of 13 people who are developing innovative ways to incorporate art, culture, food, healing, and wellness, which we all need, and music into the Presidio Tunnel Tops opening season. So it just feels like a welcoming and inclusive space for everyone. Now, building on the long tradition of the art in the park, Fabiana has created a new exhibition entitled Ancestral Futurism that is launching with Presidio Tunnel Tops. She'll be serving as a mentor, as a coach, supporting Black artists, Indigenous artists, and artists of color in translating their ideas to temporary public installations that speak to the diverse communities that make up the Bay Area and San Francisco. So please welcome Fabiana Rodriguez.
Hi, everyone. I'm delighted to be here today. I'm an artist, an environmentalist, and the president of the Center for Cultural Power, and excited to be a member of the inaugural Presidio Activators Council. And really our goal is to help make this park a more welcoming and inclusive space. And when I was asked to be a part of this group, I enthusiastically accepted, because it is so important for me to build and support our communities in reconnecting to nature. I grew up just over the bridge in East Oakland in a neighborhood full of concrete with very little trees. As we know now, that structural racism led to land use policies in which people of color especially lived in neighborhoods without nature and without access to nature. And so for me, being a part of this effort means being creative around how we can be more inviting and welcoming to communities, especially in the age of climate crisis, when we know that it's people of color who are disproportionately affected by climate catastrophe. And when I think about what the goal of my art piece is, Ancestral Futurism, it's for people to rebuild and reimagine our relationship to the natural world. Because at the core of us solving this global problem is for us to reconnect with all that is alive, the trees, the two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, the ocean animals. And so in my piece, it's titled Ancestral Futurism, because we can't repair the future. We have to repair the present first, and we have to acknowledge what has happened on these lands. And in this moment of COVID, of racial reckoning, of economic crisis, of climate crisis. It's a time for us to rethink the structures that have traditionally kept us together. Those all have to be reimagined because we have new challenges ahead of us. And my art is called Ancestral Futurism because it's an acknowledgement of all of the creatures who were wiped out at one point on these lands, of the suffering and the pain that happened on these lands. And you'll see the elk, the mountain lion, the pond turtle, a hummingbird, the salmon, all sacred creatures who are part of these ecosystems. We have to value the biodiversity of our ecosystems, and that includes valuing the human beings who for years have been disproportionately impacted. And that's why I'm excited to be a part of this initiative, excited to be part of the Presidio Activators, is to really think about how we can do that through programming and through visual art, because we know that art activates the senses. And as you enjoy the art, it's up here. There's a banner that says, "Welcome to the homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone." And then there's another installation at the Outpost Plaza. I invite you to pay attention to how you feel and how color makes you feel. And finally, I want to just say something about the butterfly, because we're going to be seeing the butterfly today as we celebrate. The monarch butterfly, which is a tremendous inspiration in my work, just like all of nature, the monarch butterfly has no borders. The monarch butterfly flies freely from Mexico through the United States and Canada. And so nature can teach us that sometimes the things that are man-made are no longer working. And how do we mimic nature? How to remember we are a part of nature, and just like nature, all human beings migrate. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Fabiana. Yeah, the artwork is beautiful, colorful, and the monarch butterflies, we've covered stories. They're making a comeback in California, so it is incredible to see. Okay, we're going to shift gears now and talk about those who made this possible. To share words of gratitude, we have a great champion of our parks with us. She's been a strong supporter of the Presidio Tunnel Tops, first as superintendent of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, and now as president and CEO of the Parks Conservancy. And there's no greater advocate for ensuring that our parks are for all, forever. I'm delighted to introduce Chris Leonards.
Oh man, let's spend the day in a park. That's where we are. Janelle, thank you, and thank you to all our speakers. And Dylan, 3 hats off to you. Welcome to our nation's newest national park space. Let's give it up for this park. It is only together that we made this happen. The Presidio Tunnel Tops was shaped and crafted by the community. At the Golden Gate National Parks Conservancy for over 40 years, we have connected people to park. The Bay Area community is an extraordinary one, as Mayor Breed said. In conjunction with our partners and with 10,000 people from the community, this has come true today. People told us what they wanted and what they wanted to experience. Open space, public space, free space, as we heard, the ability to move from their neighborhood here and back home and feel they belonged in both. They could come to the park, they could take the park home, and of course, the iconic national park experience, a campfire. So see you later at the campfire tonight. You can see it all right here from the Presidio Visitor Center, where you can buy maps and snacks and cold weather wraps and maybe today some sunscreen, all the way to the Chrissy Field Center on Mason Street, where we have been able for over 20 years to work with young people like Dylan to become bold leaders, not only in parks, but for across the Bay Area and beyond. Now, none of this would be possible if it were not for the incredible generosity and support and donors who value the importance of connecting place, parks, and people. Many thanks to Lynn, to Randy, and to Mark for their leadership of the Presidio Tunnel Tops campaign. Again, $98 million does not happen in a snap, but it happens when you have leaders like them and a committee who could make these things happen. A significant gift from the S.D. Bechtel Jr. Foundation in 2013, before the first blueprint, with the vision and idea that this could be a different space, was one of the largest ever to a national park project. It got us going. And it gave way to the awe and inspiration for others to become a part of this, where people can now enjoy this space every day. I also want to thank the Evelyn and Walter Haas Jr. Foundation, who with vision helped to reshape Crissy Field more than 2 decades ago, a cornerstone for this place, for a connection to the Bay, and is a new home for our youth programs, the Crissy Field Center, which has come back home to be on Mason Street. Much of the Crissy Field Center's impact can be seen at youth, at leaders across this community, across the Bay Area. The Crissy Field Center, back in its original home, will grow with the capacity and opportunity of the young people who lead it. Presidio Tunnel Tops is a gift to people in San Francisco, in this nation, and literally across the world because of the generosity from the donors and supporters who made this happen. Together, we're building on a collective legacy of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area in the last 50 years. Join us today, and thanks to all who have been here and made this a reality. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Chris. Well, the Presidio is part of the National Park System, as you know, America's best idea. It sits at the heart of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, created 50 years ago specifically to bring national park experiences closer to where we live, in urban areas, in cities, a national park in the city of San Francisco. It's incredible. With her 24 years in conservation, our next speaker knows more than anyone how open space, fresh air, clean water are just vital to our quality life in communities like this one. To share what Presidio Tunnel Tops means to the ongoing evolution of our national parks, here is Shannon Estenos, Assistant Secretary for Fish and Wildlife and Parks from the Department of the Interior.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. I can't tell you what an incredibly moving honor it is for me to be with you today to help dedicate the Presidio Tunnel Tops, which is our nation's newest national park experience and destination. As the Assistant Secretary of the Interior for Fish and Wildlife and Parks, or as I like to refer to it, I am the Assistant Secretary of our nation's best things. I have the overwhelming honor of overseeing the tremendous work of the National Park Service and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the work that the Park Service and both of those agencies do in stewarding our most treasured landscapes, supporting recreation, restoration jobs, a green economy on our public lands, and of course, telling the stories of all Americans. I am just so proud of this, the newest addition to the Presidio, and how it is going to serve as an inclusive gathering space, one that furthers the mission of the National Park Service to make our parks accessible and welcoming to all, as so many of our speakers have said today. The opening of Presidio Tunnel Tops does indeed coincide with the 50th anniversary of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, which is just such a splendid thing to celebrate. And of course, again, as Chris mentioned, created with the vision to make parks easily accessible and inviting to those who live in urban areas, in cities, which is really one of also the cornerstones of President Biden's America the Beautiful initiative. The America the Beautiful initiative acknowledges that there are communities that don't have access to the outdoors, and it encourages all of us. In fact, it directs his administration to conserve our lands and waters for future generations through collaborative conservation, collaborative work, which is exactly what is exemplified by the Presidio Tunnel Tops effort. The outdoors, of course, like many of you, has been an important part of my life since I was a child. My husband Richard and I raised our boys, Nick and Spencer, traipsing all over national parks and national wildlife refuges. They are grown and out of the house now, but I will tell you that I know that their own love of the great outdoors began in those formative years when they were very young. Every family, every child, every individual needs to have access to that opportunity. But for us to make that so, we have to be intentional. We have to be creative. We have to work together. We have to invest. And that is exactly what you have done here at Presidio Tunnel Tops. I look out at this 14-acre park with its trails and its picnic areas, its places for families to learn, gather, and play. I know that none of this happens without the creativity and know-how of engineers and designers and landscape architects and artists, and so many others who have converted this place of hard gray infrastructure into green infrastructure, into a human-scaled place where everyone has access to really $1 million view here, to Lynn's point, for free. That's the heart of our national park system, right? It's to make it's not just to protect our most magnificent places in this country, but to make them accessible to all, not just to a privileged few. And this is an incredible example of exactly that. I am a civil engineer by training, and I've spent most of my career in another time zone here in our country, trying to re-engineer hard landscapes to undo the unintended consequences that 20th century development has had on magnificent natural systems and on human communities. And I've been doing this for 25 years, and I have to tell you, this is remarkable. It's astounding, and I hope you will show in your visitor centers the before and after. I haven't had a chance to walk through yet of what this place did look like and what it looks like today. So I am confident that this is going to become one of the most sought after and fantastic national park experiences in our country. I want to particularly thank you, Madam Speaker, for your incredible dedication and leadership in this community, for inviting Interior to be a part of today, and I just am it is so lovely to think about all the memories that are going to be made here for decades to come. Congratulations to you all. You should just be so happy and proud. Thank you so much.
Beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Well, when it became clear that the Army would depart the Presidio, our final speaker had a clear vision of the incredible potential this place had to improve the lives of people, especially young people. Representative Nancy Pelosi assembled a bipartisan coalition to make sure the Presidio would be saved as a national park site, just as Congress intended a generation earlier. She was bolstered by legendary community leaders like Amy Meyer, who is also here with us today. And Speaker Pelosi has been a champion of the Presidio ever since, and we owe her a debt of gratitude. It is my honor to introduce the Honorable Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House. Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Janelle. I will begin where you left off with Amy Meyer. Amy Meyer, here she is. My friends, we're gathered here singing America the Beautiful, and indeed it is, especially right here. And it is about, again, what was happening today and the future, but it is on the 50th anniversary of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. That was an enormous accomplishment at the time and continues to be a gift that keeps on giving. It would not have happened without outside mobilization of people who cared about the environment. Amy Meyer and Dr. Edgar Wayburn were two champions who worked with Congressman Phil Burton to make sure that it was established. And when it was established, it not only was the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, but in that legislation, Amy knows this, Phil Burton put this sentence, which many people didn't see the gravity of until years later. When the Presidio becomes in excess of the needs of the Department of Defense, it will become part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. And before I leave Dr. Wayburn, who was so magnificent working with Amy and others, I just want to call attention to their, shall we say, leadership, persuasion, relentlessness, and persistence led to Fort Baker being transformed as well. And we have honored Dr. Wayburn there. Fortunately, we were able to do so before he left us, at 100 years old or whatever. Thank you, Amy Meyer, for not only being there at the birth of, but the growth of all of this. She's remarkable. I thank everyone who's responsible for making this Presidio Tabletops event the celebration that it deserves to be, from its designers to its funders and the rest. Lynn, Randy, where's Randy Fisher? Mark Buell, thank you all so much. The Buells and the Fishers have been part of this, as has so much about what is here with Lynn. But let me just tell you this. So this happens when it's in excess of the needs of the Department of Defense. Barbara Boxer, Dianne Feinstein, and I fought the defense leaving because we had a hospital here that we wanted to preserve for our veterans who are so much a part of our lives. The Army had been good stewards of the land here, but they were, shall we say, had left some things that had to be cleaned up if we would allow our children to play here or people to live here. So let me just say something about Congress. About $1 billion worth of cleanup, $100 million at Chrissy Field, lots of money invested. And we would do the same thing at Hunters Point and Treasure Island, but just focusing here for the moment. It was bipartisan. It was said of the military, of the Presidio, Spanish, Mexican, American, and the rest, that never a shot was fired in anger at the Presidio. We thought that would be our motto in how we negotiated in the Congress of the United States to get the job done. Because of Randy's father-in-law, Don Fisher, he was a leader in terms of making it a bipartisan initiative. Not everybody was, shall we say, ready for an urban national park. It was a new idea in many respects, especially costing the amount of money to invest to clean it up. But it became bipartisan. A trust was formed. Jim Harvey, Charlene later served on the board, but Jim Harvey was the chair of it, bipartisan. I don't know their party affiliation, but I have a feeling that they were the other way. Maybe not today, but then. In any event, in a bipartisan way, and we had our legislation all ready to go, put together by the Presidio Trust, and it was a public-private partnership, a pioneering idea for how to fund a park, not well received by everyone. And when we were about to pass it, somebody in the Senate put a hold on the bill. I know who it is, but I'm not going to say. A secret hold on the bill. And Congress adjourned it. It didn't pass. And I said to Senator Dole, who was then the minority leader of the Senate, this is devastating to us. This has been bipartisan every step of the way in the House and in the Senate until this one, 99 senators are not enough. You've gotten that impression, I'm sure. This one person. So he said, don't worry, Nancy, I will help you in the next Congress. Little did I know, or did he, that we would lose the election and the next Congress he would go from minority to majority leader. And he kept his word. Bob Dole, our hero, he helped us so much. So every step of the way. In the House, I have to pay tribute to John Murtha of Pennsylvania, and Ralph Regular, the Republican corresponding person on the Defense Subcommittee, because the defense money is what helped us make this a park. Where's the money in defense? Let's put our hand in that pocket, $1 billion worth, to clean up what was here. Greg, you spoke so beautifully about the heritage of the long Native Americans here. Alonda, his wife, gave me this, and to the mayor as well, this beautiful, beautiful reflection of our connection to nature. And his remarks were so much like what Viana had to say about art and what Lynn said about community. That it's all about the connection. And and Chris talked about it, and so did Chen, and everyone talked about that connection, led by, of course, Lynn Benioff at the beginning, who talked about what the purpose was. It's for the children, all of the children. And our president has made, as Madam Secretary mentioned, environmental justice, and for everyone, the blessings that we invest in environmentally and the rest, to get rid of the injustice, environmental injustice. But this is not just about the environmental injustice. But this is not just about the environment. That would be reason enough. It's about good health. It's about mental health. It's about the arts and how they bring us all together. So I'm so excited about this celebration because it is legitimately what it is, for the children with equity, as the president has insisted upon. And you're making this happen. Keep helping us keep a promise. Amy can tell you that when we were asking for all this money, we were saying to them, if we clean it up, we can get private sector money. Philanthropy will weigh in. We can't ask for philanthropy unless we have a clean place to grow. And time again, whether it's the Haas's at Chrissy Field, the Fishers, so many people who made all this possible, and now our three co-chairs on this, Mark Buell, Randy Fisher, and Lynn Benioff. So you're helping us keep a promise to Congress that if we made this investment, a philanthropy would follow a public-private partnership. And let me say how excited I am that this is happening when we have, as a Secretary of the Interior, the first Native American, Deb Haaland, to be the Secretary of Interior, a member of the House, I'm proud to say. So if I sound like I was bragging about the House and the Senate and the Congress, I am, because this was really, it took that action. But none of our inside maneuvering would be possible at all without the outside mobilization, without all of you, all of the organizations that were acknowledged early, members of the official families that were here, the community groups, the grassroots organizations. You know that, Amy. The outside made it happen on the inside. And Phil Burton being the leader, Philip Burton being the leader from the start. And I'm proud to follow in his tradition and this in the Congress. So thank you all, every one of you, because every one of you is essential to this. It all adds up. And the beautiful, Viviana, you're talking about the art. Listen what about bringing the children here. Wouldn't be right unless we had that beautiful involvement of children. It wouldn't be a true urban park without that. So thank you. And Janelle talked about how all of us are connected in all of this. And of course, Lynn just set the stage for us, not only here today, but in her leadership as chair of the Presidio Trust. And again, how about Dylan? Was that just unbelievable? How about Dylan? So he's going to be an interpreter of nature for these young people, but also an interpreter of their possibilities. And his own personal story is so much of that. And thank you for your leadership in so many different capacities in all of this. Shannon, please give our best to the Secretary, and thank you for your leadership. And Greg, You started us off so beautifully with our debt that we owe our Native American communities. You set the tone so beautifully. And let us also just pay tribute for a moment to men and women in uniform who kept the Presidio in good stead, not perfect stead, but good stead. They had some things they left behind that we had to clean up. But the fact that the Presidio has on its board a veteran is very important to all of us. It's all about connections. It's all about connections for the children. Thank you to all who made the Presidio Tunnel Tops possible for the children. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, House Speaker Pelosi, for being here, being our voice, our champion, not just for the Bay Area, but for California and Americans. Thank you so much for everything, your decades of service. We appreciate it so much. So great having Speaker Pelosi, everyone. Okay, she talked about community, bringing us together. So we are all going to be involved in the ribbon cutting ceremony. So did you guys get your scissors? Don't run with scissors. The police chief is here. So we're going to first ask our speakers. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for all speaking about the Tunnel Tops. By the way, the grand opening is tomorrow at 10 a.m., but you get a sneak peek today. And we want to invite our speakers to go down over here to get their scissors, and we're going to line you up over here. And then the media can get around on the other side if you guys want to capture this moment. Nobody cut the ribbon yet, okay? We're going to do this all together. We're going to do a countdown from 10 to 1, and it's going to be pretty grand. And we're going to have the Fogo na Rupa Brazilian Carnival Dance and Percussion Company here to help us. They're going to do a drum roll, basically. So we're going to have our speakers and distinguished guests with the parks, the national parks, line up right here. Around this. We get the, and then we're going to follow Fogo na Rupa, Brazilian Carnival Dance Percussion. They're going to dance to the outposts so we can follow them like a conga line, okay? Are we ready to count down? Okay, here we go. Everybody in position. Drum roll, please. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cut the ribbon. Woo! Okay, let's party. Let's dance. Welcome to the Tunnel Tops. You can follow Fogo na Rupa if you would like. They're going to dance our way down to the outpost. Thank you all for being here and enjoy it. Thank you, Jody.